Exercise from Progressive Shorthand Book. Speed 80 words per minute. Ready? Start. I find that some of our people tend to get excited about the Kashmir issue. That does not help us in considering serious problems. Some members of parliament have suggested to me that a session of parliament must immediately be convened to consider recent developments in the Kashmir problem. I do not see any need for doing so. Some have even suggested postponement of the elections and amendment of the constitution to enable the present parliament to carry on for a year or two more. I disagree. The elections will be held whatever happens. We are a mature people and can carry on with our constitution and our democratic working and at the same time tackle serious problem. We are not going to run away from the elections because of happenings in other countries or because of dangers threatening us. In fact, I think this situation makes it all the more necessary for us to have elections so that the country may give its verdict on this policy, which we can pursue with single minded vigor afterwards. We need not get excited or develop cold feet. We have no cold feet. We have stout arms and I hope stout hearts and calm heads. Nevertheless, it is true that some recent developments in this Kashmir problem have caused us concern. We are also distressed because this problem, which has existed for 9 years now, has been dealt with very casually in the Security Council recently. It is a problem which has roused people emotionally in Pakistan, in India, and most of all in Kashmir itself. But we cannot solve problems by sentiment. Where there is this strong emotional background, where there is a 9 year history involving all kinds of legal and practical problems and the immense consequences of any action that might be taken, then it seems to me wisdom requires something more than casual consideration and casual decision. Our case was presented before the Security Council by my colleague, and I want to tell you that he did this work brilliantly and most effectively, and the line he took there represented completely our views on the subject. I say this although it was not necessary for me to say so. A colleague and representative has naturally to say what we jointly feel. Nevertheless, I want to say it because there are some people to belittle him because he is wiser. It is because of this I want to tell you that though my colleague is a member of the Rajya Sabha and it was not necessary for him to seek election, yet we have agreed to his seeking election from the city of Bombay, for Bombay is a cosmopolitan city and we want our foreign policy to be voted upon in Bombay. It is for the people to say whether they agree with our foreign policy or not. It is our challenge to those who disagree with our foreign policy. We do not run away from criticism. The Kashmir question is complicated. What are the basic issues involved? There are many, but in my view, the basic issue about Kashmir is the good of the people of Kashmir. Nothing else counts. If it comes into conflict with other issues that count, then I, as the Prime Minister of India, necessarily have to take into consideration the interests of India. I have no business to relinquish or throw away the interests of India because of some sentiment. Nevertheless, I say that the major consideration for me and for my government has been the good of the people of Kashmir. Some people, chiefly in foreign countries and sometimes even in India, refer to moral standards and say, Mr. Nehru, who pretends to be a high moral figure, doling out moral advice to everybody in the world, forgets his own morality when he deals with Kashmir. He has a double standard. Well, it is very difficult for me to know my own failings, but I am not personally conscious of any double or separate standard. If I had deliberately judged Kashmir by any different standard, then indeed I would have stood condemned not only before other countries but before my own people and above all before myself. I think that on moral issues, India stands rather well over the Kashmir matter. Look at the history of the case. Invasion through Pakistan and later by Pakistan, destruction, arson, loot, robbery, murder by people coming through and from Pakistan. This is the beginning of the story of the Kashmir issue, a story which goes back over 9 years. It is also known that immediately after that Kashmir acceded to India. According to us and many others, it became our right and duty to protect Kashmir. Quite apart from it, if we had not done this at that time, Kashmir would have been a smoking ruin and there would have been large scale war between India and Pakistan.